Johanna, and I thought I'd just do a little video. When I say little, it might be about 30 minutes-ish. I'll try not to keep it too long. I just thought I'd do a little video where I colour and just talk a little bit about myself. So this page is from Worlds of Wonder that I'm working on at the moment. This bit's Crayola pencils. I recently got the 100 set, and I'm also going to be using these Astra Pastelowe pencils that I recently got as well from Poland. They're basically a kind of Polish equivalent to the Holbeins, which I've never used because they're too expensive. But if you go on ColourMeStressFree's channel, she's got a whole review video on them, and she also compares them to the Holbeins, so you can see how similar they are. I'll put a link to her video in the description. So, yeah, I started colouring about 5 years ago, July, I basically started during my first year of university, where I was doing creative writing, and one of our modules, like our lessons, we basically were looking at different ways to get inspiration for writing, and basically there was and we basically, one of the sort of homework assignments was to find a piece of artwork that could inspire us, and I wasn't really much into art. I mean, I liked Anne Stokes and Lisa Parker, a sort of fantasy, kind of gothic-y type art, but other than that I didn't really know much. So I went on Google and I typed in sort of fantasy art, and I came across Molly Harrison. She does lots of like fairies and mermaids. So yeah, she's got lots of colouring books, and basically when I was searching I came across her colouring books, and sort of from there I became obsessed with colouring. I bought a couple of her books, and it's actually the two I've finished so far. It's her Whimsical World book and Magical Fairies. I have flip throughs of both of them if you'd like to see my completed books. Hopefully I can add to the completed book sometime this year. So I've got a few books I'd quite like to finish. And so sort of from there I joined colouring groups on Facebook, and I was introduced to new artists like Selena Fennick and Jasmine Beckett-Griffith, Hannah Lynn, all the sort of popular ones that lots of people like. And yeah, it helps with uni and sort of the stress of assignments and things. I'm just going to tip the camera down, so I'm going to work on this a little bit here. So yeah, here it is. So yeah, so sorry, I'm saying a lot. I like writing. The creative writing course I did really helped me sort of know how to sort of adapt my colouring, my writing, sorry, and kind of to expand my skills a little bit and improve what I did already. I like writing fantasy and horror, and that's heavily influenced by my older brother, who sadly we lost in 2018. Is he liked writing horror stories, and he went to the same uni and did the same course, so he was really happy when I did that same course. But yeah, I am working on a fantasy trilogy in my spare time when I'm in the mood. It's called the Star Crystal Chronicles. It's still very much a work in progress with kind of these crystals that have different, that sort of grant whoever has them powers. And yeah, there's like an evil sorceress and this girl called Astra, and she basically, there's sort of a race to get the crystals first, because if the sorceress gets them, then she'll obviously use them for bad. So yeah, it's still very much work in progress, and it's been edited a lot and restarted, but hopefully one day I can do something with that, and hopefully one day get it published, as I'd like to get something published in memory of my brother, as he got very close to publishing at one point. But unfortunately he didn't meet the deadline. He struggled to meet the deadline, so hopefully I can publish something for both of us. So yeah, and then I also like reading, mostly sort of fantasy. My favourite author in sort of fantasy is Sarah J. Maas, so she writes The Throne of Glass and The Court of Thorns and Roses, and more recently Crescent City. And yeah, she was the sort of inspiration for me to start writing my own stuff. I got inspired to sort of create my own world and things like that, and I was lucky enough to get to tell her that at a book signing, and she was really happy about it. So yeah, I like her books, and I wrote the colouring books based off her 2 series. I'm hoping there might one day, when there's more books, there might be a Crescent City one, so that would be cool. But for now, I've got the others. And other authors I like are Christina Henry. She's got this series called Black Wings, but I don't really know much about it. I've only got the first book. It's sort of like a supernatural kind of thing. I think it's like crime, I'm not sure. But it's like this girl who's a sort of angel. But I don't really know much about it, so I can't really explain. But yeah, there's that. But then the books I have read of hers is Alice, which is like a darker version of Alice in Wonderland, and it is really cool. I mean, it's not for everyone because it's quite sort of horror-like and like dark, but it's really cool to see how she sort of takes elements of the original story and changes them. And so yeah, there's that, and there's the sequel to that called Red Queen. And then she's also got a book called The Ghost Tree, which is Sleepy Hollow-esque, although minus the Headless Horseman, but it's kind of like a quiet little town. There's sort of new plague, sort of cursed by these murders, and like no one seems to know what's going on. There's sort of like a hidden secrecy going on, and this girl decides to investigate it. So yeah, that was a cool book. Yeah, I've got quite a few of her books, but I haven't read all of them yet. And I also, it's sort of a nostalgia thing. I like Jacqueline Wilson, so I've always loved her stuff. Just gonna grab the Crayola white to try and blend that. So yeah, she's one of my favourite authors, even though she's technically she writes for children and sort of younger teens, but I grew up with her books, so I still like reading them as a sort of, I just like them. And I recently got her book, Love Frankie, which I'm reading, so yeah. I just sort of, when I want something a bit more simple to read that's not too complicated, it's nice to revisit her books. So yeah, that. And then, so books, we can talk about sort of favourite films. Again, my brother passed away, he kind of influenced my film interest. He kept showing me and my younger brother horror films, so like Nightmare on Elm Street and Final Destinations and stuff like that, and we kind of both really like horror now. So yeah, we excuse me, the Saw films and stuff like that, Conjuring, all of that kind of thing. And then I also like Disney films. I like Onward in particular. It's a good film. And then I also like, sorry, I dropped my pencil. I also like The Princess and the Frog, although that may partly be because, sorry, I'm just grabbing some more pencils. The Princess and the Frog, their main character is Te-arnna, so she's got the same name as me, which is quite nice, really, because, sorry, just make sure I'm in shot. Zoom in a little bit. So yeah, she's got the same name as me, which is quite cool, because, like, in sort of gift shops and stuff, he always got sort of like mugs and stuff with names on, but I could never get that because my name was so unusual. So to have a Disney princess with the same name as me, it is quite nice. Although I think it kind of influenced a lot of parents to name their children after her, as quite often where I work, the range, there's been a couple of times where I've like heard Te-arnna and it's confused me because it's not one of my colleagues, and then it turns out it's like someone's child that I'm serving. It's like, oh, it's another Te-arnna. But yeah, that's quite cool. Other films I like Frozen 2 as well. I do like the first film, but the second one's my favourite, I think. I just prefer the songs and things. So yeah, and then other films I like are, I like Coraline. It's creepy but awesome. I really like stop motion animation stuff because it's just so clever how they do it. Even though it takes like ages, not even hours, like weeks, months to do it, like it's really cool. So I like Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare Before Christmas, and like Corpse Bride and things like that, and Frankenweenie. So it's all kind of the stop motion animation stuff. So yeah, that's some of my favourite films. And I also like Finding Neverland, which is like the story of G.M. Barrie and how he became inspired to write Peter Pan. So yeah. One of my, sort of, Peter Pan's kind of special in my family because my brother passed away. He was almost like a real life Peter Pan. Like, he was obsessed with Peter Pan when he was younger. My mum's always told me like he dressed up as him and stuff when he was little. And he always kind of joked saying he had Peter Pan syndrome because he was such like a big kid. So yeah, it's sad he's not here anymore, but he's influenced a lot of stuff in my life. He also influenced, he kind of got me into heavy metal music and rock. Although even though I like sort of classic stuff like he did, I kind of ventured off on my own kind of music journey. Like, some of my favourite bands are Hellstorm and The Pretty Reckless, and more recently In This Moment. So yeah, they're quite cool. I quite often listen to music whilst I'm colouring. It's quite often either one of them or I got like a playlist with all three of those bands on, so I put it on shuffle and just listen. Or if I'm not in the mood for like songs with lyrics, I'll listen to some instrumental music. One of my favourites is a violinist called Taylor Davis, and she does covers, but her original music's really nice as well. So if I'm in the mood for sort of lyrics or like vocals, I'll listen to her stuff. Yeah, it's just nice and relaxing. I don't really like colouring in silence. I like to have something going on, whether that be music or I sometimes watch YouTube videos. So yeah. I also like, there's a few TV shows I like. There's American Horror Story. I think I'd say my favourite seasons would be Freak Show or Asylum. I'm not quite up to date with American Horror Story. I haven't seen the one that comes after Apocalypse. But it's kind of like, it hasn't updated on Netflix, like with the new series. I think there's like licensing issues or something. So I might just have to buy it on DVD and watch it. But I want to watch them from the beginning anyway, because I haven't seen the older seasons for a while. I also, when I had a free trial of Amazon Prime, I watched the Exorcist series, which was really cool. Although I was a bit sad that there was only 2 seasons, but it's alright. I liked how it kind of linked to the original story. So it's definitely worth checking out if you like that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then I also like Once Upon a Time, although I'm still a bit behind with that. I haven't seen the last season where Henry's grown up, but I just really like, I like fairy tale stuff, so that series is quite fun to watch, and I like all the different like story characters in it, and it's not just, it's not just fairy stories, it's like, so there's like the Wizard of Oz and things like that. So yeah, it's quite a cool series. And I like how they sort of link all different characters together in ways you don't expect. So yeah, and I also like Game of Thrones, though I'm also not up to date with that really. I'm terrible. There's so many series I need to catch up on. But yeah, I like Game of Thrones. I'm more up to date with the series than I am with the books though. The books I really struggle to read, because they're so info heavy. Like George R. R. Martin just info dumps like history into it. And I have to be in the right mood. I've read 1.5 books of the series, which is not a lot, but yeah, hopefully be able to try and work my way through those at some point when I'm in the mood. So yeah, that, and then what other series? I like iZombie, although again that's another series I need to sort of get up to date with. It's quite a cool series if you like a sort of horror comedy crimey type thing. Yeah, it's a different take on the like zombies and stuff. I never really liked zombies, but iZombie's kind of changed that. I used to be terrified of Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island when I was younger, but now it's one of my favourite films. So yeah. Yeah, iZombie, and then there's Doctor Who, which I kind of grew up watching from Christopher Eccleston, but David Tennant's my favourite Doctor. I have watched the newer ones, but I don't know, it just feels a lot different now, and it doesn't quite feel the same as it used to. I mean, I think the idea that they've changed it, like they've got a female Doctor now, at least for the moment anyway, you don't know who the Doctor's going to change into. But, I mean, I don't know if I really like how Jodie Whittaker's portraying the Doctor. I think it's just, like, personal preference, really. But, yeah. But we'll see. I'll carry on watching it. But I like to revisit the David Tennant series, because those episodes are good. And I've watched them so many times that both me and my brother can quote most of the episodes now, which annoys our mum a little bit. So yeah, my younger brother is obsessed with Doctor Who. Like, he's got every single episode from the very first William Hartnell. He's got all the DVDs, he's got lots of like figures, and yeah, he's got a lot. His whole room is just Doctor Who. I've got lots of colouring books and supplies, so Doctor Who is his hobby, colouring is mine. So yeah, there's that. And I think that's all the series. Yeah, other than like colouring and reading and things, I like, in more recent, sort of last year or so, I've tried to get back into drawing, because I used to draw a lot when I was little, and I mean back then I wasn't too fussy with how things came out, but now I'm kind of like, I'm very picky with how things, and I get frustrated when things don't turn out how I want them to, and I think that's because at first I was trying to draw like realistic stuff, like people, because I really like drawing people, and I think I was trying too hard to make it realistic, and then it didn't turn out that way. So, but I've more recently realised that maybe I should just try and do slightly less realistic stuff. So I've got some manga books, which is a little bit more less high expectations, but I mean there's still a technique to it, but I definitely find it easier than sort of realistic stuff. So I have drawn a few things. I can do a video if anyone is interested of what I have drawn. It's not very much. I'm still quite like new to trying to do stuff, and I have to be in the right mood. But I have done a few pictures which I really like. So I can do a video and show you the few pictures I have done. But yeah, there's that. So I might just finish with sort of like my favourite kind of art supplies. So I like the Faber-Castell polychromos. They're my favourite pencils, although these Astra pencils are very nice. This is the first time I've properly used them since I got them, as I've only just swatched them so far. These are quite nice. Yeah, I also like watercolour pencils, mostly the Albrecht Dürer from Faber-Castell as well. I like using the watercolour pencils a lot. I use them a lot in the eerie books or romantic country books, because I just really like how it looks on her pictures. And I also recently, I really like Mod Podge Extreme Glitter. It's like glue, but it dries clear. I used it on this page here. I don't know if you sort of in the background. I don't know if it's quite good. I just showed this in my completed pages for April. But yeah, no, it's very glittery. And I think just is, I've been watching Colouring with Kay's videos, and she uses a lot of glittery embellishments and stuff, so I think she's had an influence on me to use more glittery things in my pages. So it just makes things a bit more special and like pretty to look at. So yeah, that's favourite colouring supplies, and I've just got a few plans for my channel. I'm just going to check the time. Yeah, we're fine, because my phone sometimes cuts off about 30 minutes in. My plans for my channel, I mean originally I was just like uploading flip-throughs, but I really want to try and do some more stuff. So I want to possibly do a colouring book collection video series, although that will take a very long time. One, because my phone won't film for very long. It's about 30 minutes-ish max. Even with like my phone cleared out, I don't know what's going on. And but also just because I've got, you know, I've got 5 years worth of colouring books, so it's a lot to get through. But I try and do it in as small amount of parts as possible. It might go on for a little while, but I know there's people that like watching stuff like that. I mean, I do. I just, you know, you like seeing what other people have got in case there's any books you didn't know about. So yeah, there's that. And then I was thinking maybe doing colouring supplies collection. Maybe, anyway, just let me know what you're interested in. That would be really good. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I'd like to talk about today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.